You're listening to the SNHU Weekly Podcast, a show that explores the world of computer science and online education. My name is Giovanni, and I am a freshman at Southern New Hampshire University Online. I am majoring in computer science, and on this episode, we'll be discussing the completion of Module 2, some things and topics that I decided to go with, some feedback I received from my teacher on my topics, just a couple of things to go over. About the completion of Module 2. So this week, of course, Module 2 is complete. And Module 2, let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into it. So this was the discussing your topic, okay, and kind of we had to do preliminary research. So this is in preparation for a paper that we're going to do at the end of the course that is due, and it's a large percentage of our grade. So this is kind of breaking down. So the way that it's set up is you go through all of the classes, and once you go through all of the classes, each module, if you will, adds up to this paper. So initially, my main topic was going to be the quality assurance process. And so I was going through like the quality assurance process in software development and software testing, software engineering, artificial intelligence, healthcare software, the developmental life cycle, and agile software development. So I kind of was going through all of those topics, really trying to decide where I wanted to go with them. And ultimately, in this week, as you will find out in next week's podcast, I actually ended up changing the topic completely, but you'll have to tune into next week's podcast to find out. But for right now, we're going with quality assurance before I receive feedback from my instructor. So welcome back. We're talking about our second kind of issue that happened in Module 2. So I'll explain a little bit more. So the way that Southern New Hampshire University works, in probably many online colleges, is that you have to use their database. At least for this class, this English class that I'm taking, you have to use their database. So it is called, like, it's through the Shapiro Library. Okay, that's what it's called. And I found like several references on like quality assurance processes, which they had some that focused on software development, some that focused on like testing and engineering and some other things. For me, my biggest issue is I didn't really know where I wanted to go initially with this paper. And I think that that's where this isn't the paper portion. This is just kind of getting your thoughts together, putting your keywords together, that type of thing, and then looking at the database. So this was kind of the first exposure to that. So I went through, found a couple of really options that I wanted to write about. Okay. And so right now in our story, if you will, it's going to focus in primarily on this database research. Heard from our sponsor here. Thank you so much, Anchor, for sponsoring this podcast. And let me explain why Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. First, you guys, it's free. So you don't need to download anything onto your computer. You just simply log into the Anchor website. And once you go to the Anchor website, you have all the tools that you need to create a podcast. This is recorded in Anchor. All of my podcasts are recorded in Anchor, and you can do it from your phone or your computer. Okay. And Anchor will take care of the distribution for you. All you need to do is focus on the content, and they will distribute it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. They take care of all of that for you. You can make money. Yes, you can make money with Anchor as well. So, and there's no minimum listenership. You make money going out doing the things that you already enjoy. So it's everything that you need to make a podcast. And again, thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring today's podcast. So, welcome back. We're talking about our second kind of issue that happened in Module 2. So, I'll explain a little bit more. So, the way that Southern New Hampshire University works in probably many online colleges is that you have to use their database. At least for this class, this English class that I'm taking, you have to use their database. So it is called, like, it's through the Shapiro Library. Okay, that's what it's called. And I found like several references on like quality assurance processes, which they had some that focused on software development, some that focused on like testing and engineering and some other things. Um, for me, my biggest issue is I didn't really know where I wanted to go initially with this paper. And I think that that's where this isn't the paper portion. This is just kind of getting your thoughts together, putting your keywords together, that type of thing, and then looking at the database. So this was kind of the first exposure to that. So I went through, found a couple of really options that I wanted to write about. Okay. And so right now in our story, if you will, it's going to focus in primarily on this database research. All right. So here is some feedback that I received from my instructor. And now keep in mind, at the time when I was writing and kind of going through and submitting this all to her, I couldn't figure out if it needed to be in APA format or if there was it's something in particular that we needed to submit. I didn't know how necessarily we were going to do it. As I told you in the last kind of setup that we went through and kind of review, but I did submit it. It did go through, and when I submitted the paperwork, I was just trying to figure out where I needed to go. And so when I figured it out, I did figure out that you need to submit it. You need to submit it in Word, which was fine. No big deal. Everything went just fine. However, my instructor gave me, and I will read you guys specifically what she said. And I think the feedback is important to hear. Not that I thought my paper was great. Here is what she said. It's a bit hard to discern what the argument is that you will explore. Are you arguing that companies need to do more to recruit female candidates? Are you arguing that STEM programs should be more prevalent in school in order to produce potential employees? Think about what your main idea is that you want to pursue and why it is important to get people to agree with your perspective. Now, this is built on a point system. So the most that I could have gotten out of that particular aspect of issue 1 was 25 points. I got a needs improvement, so I got 1875. Issue 2, because she couldn't figure out if I was issue 1 or issue 2, so she gave me 18.75 on the points for that. I was able to present, obviously, the argue, so I got full 20 points for that, which identifies which side might be argued if the issue is pursued in final persuasive essay. I was able to address the audience, which was 20 points as well. And I was able to articulate my response in enough to get an 87.5 out of 100. So here is my kind of my feedback that I thought was I didn't expect to get I didn't expect to get 100 out of it. And to be honest with you, I didn't really expect on my first paper to even get like an 80%. I thought I was going to be somewhere in the 70-ish range because it has really been quite some time since I've actually taken an English class. So to get an 85 on this and then to take her feedback. So, what you will learn in next week's podcast is I ended up changing my topic completely and kind of focused in on what she said. So, I kind of went in a direction of arguing that STEM programs should be more prevalent in schools, and I'm kind of developing that as my persuasive topic for this particular next one. So, I just wanted to give you guys more in depth as to the feedback that I received for this week. So, yeah, that's what I got. And so, not too bad on the first paper, not too bad at all. So that's it for week 2. And on to next week's classwork. So thank you for taking the time to listen to the podcast and hang out with me as I document my journey through computer science and, kind of the world of SNHU online. I will see you next week where we will be talking about week 3 and things are starting to get really involved and picking up. So look forward to next week. Talk to you then.